Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 13th of December for the Sun or the Ascendant. Now I'm going to give you a broad overview of what to expect, but please stay with me because then I will dive deep and in forensic detail give you the inside track for your particular zodiac sign. This week begins with Mercury moving from the sign of Sagittarius into the earth sign of Capricorn. Now Mercury is very effective in Capricorn, particularly around business matters, but is replaced in the sign of Sagittarius by Mars. Now Mars governs the second decan of Sagittarius, so it's very much at home in this sign. Sagittarius energy is very much to do with being adventurous and pioneering and buccaneering, and the Sun stays in the sign of Sagittarius, and Mercury and Mars are going to be in a semi-sextile this week, which is very enabling, so that's something to really appreciate. I should say that Mercury joins up with Venus and Pluto in Capricorn, so if there are things that we need to grapple with of a more material nature, or it is around a relationship situation where we're looking to get some greater clarity about just how steadfast it is or not, the discussions that can follow from Mercury in that arena, along with Venus and Pluto, can be very helpful. But of course, due to COVID regulations, it's not so easy to think about widening our horizons in a more physical way with the arrival of Mars in Sagittarius. But the Sun this week forges an amazing link to Jupiter. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, so there's a receptivity here. And this angle, the sextile between the Sun and Jupiter, is probably one of the most fortunate ones that can be struck in astrology. So if there is something around a group activity, a wider principle that you're really interested in, that you can come together with people, even if that's not physically possible, perhaps through the internet, the uplifting energy of the Sun and Jupiter really can be something we can all appreciate this week. And for some lucky people, depending on their nativities, their natal charts, this could bring about a real stroke of giant fortune. Now this is a week, of course, when we do have a full moon, and this full moon occurs in the sign of Gemini, which is very fleet-footed, ruled by Mercury, but it's forging a really uplifting link with Jupiter too. So there's a lot to be excited about this week, but it has to be said that Venus does go into retrograde as the week draws to a close, which goes on through to the 29th of January. But there's a lovely link between Uranus and Mercury as the week draws to a close. So if we are thinking about trying to make the most of our resources, an imaginative idea, thinking about something to do with technology that provides a service to others and maybe earns an income to us, can also be something that inspires. So in general, a really sparkling week. But if you're new to my channel, I would be honoured if you'd subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. And if you'd like to order your year 2022 personal forecast, you can do that by clicking on the link beneath this video. You can get a character analysis as well, 30% off, the rest of this year free, or if you order earlier in January, you can get the full 12 months from the point of that order. Gain searing insights into how your personal astrology is evolving in relation to the planets moving in the sky above us. But stay with me for that detailed forecast next. So Leo, your weekly horoscope for week commencing the 13th of December sees that glorious arrival of Mars, the planet of passion, in the part of your horoscope to do with self-expression, to do with life's joys and pleasures. Perfect timing for the festivities. Now Mars is going to also add luster to your sex appeal, so you're going to feel better about yourself with his help. But the Sun in this location, that link to Jupiter, is really very, very good. The Sun and Jupiter in a sextile is one of the most fortunate alliances you can get in astrology. The fifth house can be the sector of risk, of chance. So if you are feeling that you want to be more speculative about something you've done the research on, but you want to collaborate on this with somebody else, then perhaps you could have a real stroke of fortune working in this way closely with that other person. Now, if you're thinking this much more about the romantic sphere, having the Sun and Mars in your fifth house, aligning as the Sun does with Jupiter in your seventh, is about as good as it gets. I can't promise this will deliver you someone magical to light up your Christmas enjoyment if you are single, but it certainly can help. Now, of course, Mercury moves on the Monday into the sign of Capricorn, joining up with the planet of relating, Venus, which is in that alliance with Pluto. Now, if you're already in a relationship and the give and take around the domestic scene is not quite as attuned as it could be, probably one of the best ways that you can try to motivate your other half to be a bit more thoughtful is to use your sense of humour, and it could actually be very, very successful in just triggering a little bit more effort or appreciation of what you do. But Mercury moving into your sixth house is going to bring out the part of you that likes to be a brilliant host, of which you can often be, because it will help you to just remember those core details which are so critical. But if a relationship is struggling a bit, it may be by going out and socialising with other people that you can become much more aware of what you don't have. But one of the big things in life is that we can always focus on the downside. It's much more difficult to always appreciate what we have. And perhaps as Venus goes retrograde towards the end of this week, that's what you're being asked to do. Just be very cautious about making any quick decisions. But then, having said that, the full moon in the sign of Gemini is asking you to basically manage your time between what's good for you, the individual, and where you need to be more thoughtful about the needs of others. And there's a pivot point to get in all our lives, on all lunations, where it feels right, the balance feels right. And if something feels out of shape, you're needing too much time with your friends or a lot of support from someone, it may be a sign that a relationship just isn't quite as you would really like. But one thing you should try to avoid doing is comparing yourself to anyone else. I think the full moon is actually linking very positively to Jupiter, and it may be that someone can give you some very sound of advice, and possibly after the festivities are over, you're going to be looking at ways in which you may bring some healing to a relationship that's not working quite so well. But if you are footloose and fancy free, this is a sparkling set of influences for sure. Now, in a more practical, prosaic way, Mercury's linked to Uranus towards the end of this week could see the opportunity come up for a job that you're not expecting, or applying an idea you have in a fresh and innovative way. So something can move quite quickly around your professional situation as this week draws to a close.